Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're doing something that, well, I honestly think is one of the coolest projects we've ever tackled.
I agree.
Usually, we're here breaking down complex philosophy or some new piece of tech or a really dense historical biography. But today,
Today we're going on a trip.
we are, and not just any trip, we are virtually embarking on what I can only describe as a tactical expedition through the heart of Italy.
A tactical expedition. I love that.
Exactly. This is the deep dive guide to the upcoming Taylor Italian expedition. We're talking about Robert and Sharon Taylor and their month-long journey.
Yeah, from February 28th to March 25th, 2026.
And if you're listening to this, chances are you're a friend or a family member of Robert and Sharon.
Mm-hmm. You're the people who are going to be getting the WhatsApp photos, the Instagram updates.
The excited text messages at like 3 in the morning, your time, because of the time difference. Right. So our mission today is pretty specific. We want to take this massive stack of paper, and I mean, it is massive. We have confirmation emails, vouchers, hotel reservations, tour tickets.
All of it.
And we want to turn it into a narrative. We want to translate all this logistics into an experience so that when you see that photo of a plate of pasta or a marble statue, you know exactly where they are.
And what they're doing and, why it's special.
Yeah, we want you to travel along with them vicariously.
For sure. Because looking at this itinerary, this isn't just a vacation. A vacation is like sitting by a pool for a week. This is an expedition.
That's the word for it.
It's a mix of, high-end luxury, some pretty rigorous physical activity, and this deep cultural immersion.
It is so meticulously planned.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the structure of this trip, and it's brilliant. It's not just hopping from hotel to hotel every single night, which is just exhausting.
Oh, that's the worst. No, they've adopted a very smart hub and spoke model for the first half, and then they transition into these really deep dive city stays.
It seems like the best way to see a country like Italy.
It really is. You get the stability of a home base, but you still get the adventure of being on the road.
So let's unpack this. We're going to go through this chronologically, step by step. We'll cover the launch, the Tuscan countryside, the coastal hikes, and then, the big cities, Florence and Rome.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning, the launch, February 28th, 2026.
Departure day.
They're leaving from Panama City, Florida, that's ECP, at 2:05 p.m. They connect through Atlanta, and then they board the big one,
The long haul.
Delta Flight 66 to Rome.
We really need to pause right here. Because looking at the tickets, they aren't just flying to Rome. They're flying Delta One.
I saw that. And for the uninitiated, maybe for the family members listening who, usually fly coach, can we explain what Delta One actually is? Because it's not just a slightly bigger seat.
Oh, not at all. It's a completely different physiological experience. When you're crossing the Atlantic, your biggest enemy is jet lag and just physical exhaustion. Delta One is essentially a tool to mitigate all of that.
So it's about recovery before you even arrive.
Exactly. And it starts on the ground. They'll have access to the Delta One Lounge or the Sky Club in Atlanta.
Which is huge.
It is. Instead of sitting at a crowded gate, fighting for an outlet to charge your phone, surrounded by noise, they're in a sanctuary. They can have a shower, a proper chef-curated meal, maybe a cocktail.
So by the time they even get on the plane, their stress levels are already way down. They're already in vacation mode.
Totally. And then they get on board. And the seat is the game changer. It's a 180-degree live flat bed.
That is the holy grail of flying.
It really, really is. You are not sleeping sitting up. You are lying down flat. They give you these oversized duvets, lumbar pillows that can double as a mattress pad.
Wow.
And luxury bedding by Missoni. The whole goal is for you to get actual REM sleep.
And the amenities are top tier too, right?
Yeah.
I saw the notes about Grown Alchemist skincare products and their little amenity kits.
It's all those little details. Hydration is key on a plane. But let's talk about the food, because this is where the luxury part really kicks in. This is not a plastic tray with a foil lid.
No, this is chef curated.
It's a multi-course dining experience. You get appetizers, warm nuts, which is such a classic signifier of first class,
Right.
and wines that are selected by a sommelier. They are being fed and watered like absolute royalty.
So you get a picture of Robert and Sharon. They're somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean, tucked into bed, having just had a glass of some fine wine. It sounds just terrible, awful.
A hard life. But honestly, there's a very strategic reason for this kind of expense. They land in Rome at Fiumicino Airport, that's FCO, at 10:30 a.m. on March 1st.
The morning arrival.
Right. And if you spent the last 9 hours all contorted in an economy seat, you land in Rome feeling like a zombie.
Oh, I've been there. You're dehydrated, your back hurts, you just want to find a bed and sleep.
Exactly. But because they're flying Delta One, the whole idea is that they hit the ground running. They should arrive refreshed.
Which is so crucial because they don't have a chauffeur waiting for them with a sign. They're driving themselves.
This is the first big logistical hurdle of the expedition. They are picking up a rental car directly at the airport.
Okay, I see the reservation here. It's with Europcar. And the car class is compact, automatic.
Let's just stop on that word automatic for a second. If there is anyone listening who is planning a trip to Italy, this is probably the best advice you're going to get today.
Okay.
Do not, I repeat, do not rent a manual transmission unless you drive stick shift every single day at home.
Why is that? I mean, stick shift is fun, right?
Stick shift is fun on a racetrack. Stick shift is not fun when you're stopped on a 15% incline in some medieval hill town with a Vespa buzzing around your mirror and a delivery truck honking behind you.
Got it.
Italian driving is aggressive. It's fast. You need one hand on the wheel and the other hand free to check your GPS or, gesture emphatically at other drivers. You do not want to be worrying about a clutch.
So Robert and Sharon made the smart call. Compact, automatic.
And compact is also key. The roads in Italy, especially in the villages they're going to, are so narrow, an SUV just won't fit down some of these streets.
Yeah.
A compact car is tactical, it's smart.
So they grab the car on the morning of March 1st, and they're not staying in Rome, they're leaving immediately.
Yep, they're heading north.
They are driving straight into the heart of Tuscany. And this brings us to the second phase of the trip, the Tuscan home base.
This is their headquarters. From March 1st all the way to March 15th, that's a solid 2-week chunk of time.
And this is where that hub and spoke model you mentioned comes in. Instead of moving every couple of days, they're planting a flag.
They're staying at a place called Borgo alla Vigna,
which is a Hilton Grand Vacations Club property. It's located in a town called Selvatel, which is near Pisa.
Right. And Borgo essentially means village.
Ugh.
Looking at the pictures and the description, this place is just stunning. It's nestled in the rolling hills of the Valdera region. It is exactly what you picture when you close your eyes and think Tuscany.
Cypress trees, vineyard.
It's the golden light, all of it.
And they're not in a standard hotel room. They have a 2-bedroom villa.
See, this is the difference between staying somewhere and living somewhere. A villa means they have space, they've got a living room, but the most important thing, by far, is that they have a full kitchen.
Why does the kitchen matter so much?
Because the food culture in Tuscany is all about the ingredients. With a kitchen, they can stop at a local market or a roadside stand. They can buy some fresh pecorino cheese, some wild boar salami, a loaf of that unsalted Tuscan bread.
Some ripe tomatoes, a bottle of local Chianti.
Exactly. And they can make a simple dinner and eat it out on their terrace.
The notes here mention the terrace has views of the Tuscan countryside.
Can you imagine waking up, making an espresso in your own kitchen, walking out onto your terrace, and just watching the mist lift off the vineyards? That is the vibe for the first 2 weeks.
It also has a pool, a reception lounge, and concierge service. So they have the independence of a rental, but they still have the support of a resort.
It's a really comfortable hybrid. And geographically, Selvatel is a genius choice.
How?
Well, if you look at a map of Tuscany, Selvatel is just perfectly central. It's inland, but not too deep. It's about 45 minutes from Pisa and the coast.
Yeah.
It's close to Volterra. It's a reasonable drive to Florence or Siena.
So it sits right in the middle of everything.
It's the perfect hub for all their day trips.
So let's talk about those spokes. They get there, they settle in on March 1st. They probably crash early, even with the Delta One comfort. Then, March 2nd, the exploration begins.
And their first spoke trip is to Pisa.
The Leaning Tower, we all know it. It's iconic.
It is. They have a guided tour booked for 10:30 a.m. at the Piazza dei Miracoli, which means the Square of Miracles.
So is it just a photo op, the classic, I'm holding up the tower pose?
I mean, you have to do the pose. It's basically mandatory. But the guided tour is crucial because Pisa is actually a fascinating historical site. The Square of Miracles is one of the most beautiful architectural complexes in the entire world. The cathedral, the baptistery, and the bell tower, which is the leaning one, they're all built in this Pise Romanesque style. It's all white marble, blind arcades, It's incredibly unified.
But I'm guessing a guide can explain why it actually leans.
Exactly. It's a soft soil issue, basically. But they'll also explain the history of Pisa as a major maritime republic. In the Middle Ages, Pisa was a superpower. It rivaled Venice. That cathedral was built with money they looted from naval battles. It's a display of pure power.
Okay, so that's day one of exploring. Then they have a whole series of day trips lined up throughout that first week. March 3rd is San Gimignano.
Ah, San Gimignano. This is one of my personal favorites. It's often called the Manhattan of the Middle Ages.
I love that nickname. For the family listening, why is it called that?
Because of the skyline. In the medieval period, the wealthy families of San Gimignano were locked in this constant status war. They couldn't just fight in the streets all the time, so they fought with architecture. They built towers.
The taller your tower, the more important your family was.
It was a total ego contest, 100%. At its peak, there were over 70 towers in this tiny walled town.
Wow.
Today, I think about 14 of them still make up the skyline. But as you drive up the hill, and it is a hill town, you just see these stone skyscrapers rising out of the vineyards. It looks like something out of a fantasy movie set. It's incredible.
It sounds striking. Okay, then later in the week, specifically around March 7th and 8th, they're visiting Lucca and Volterra.
And these two towns are a perfect study in contrast. If you visit them back to back, you really get the full range of Tuscan history.
Okay, so let's start with Lucca. What's the vibe there?
Lucca is refined, it's elegant, it's also flat, which is a really nice break from all the hill climbing. It's famous for its walls.
It's the city walls.
Right. But unlike a lot of other cities that tore their walls down to expand, Lucca kept them. They're these massive brick Renaissance fortifications. But here's the cool part. They turned the top of the walls into a park.
A park on top of the walls.
Yep. It's a tree-lined promenade that circles the entire city. You can walk or ride a bike on top of them, looking down into the old town on one side and out to the countryside on the other. It's just very, very cool.
And Volterra.
Volterra is the brooding, rugged cousin. It's perched way high up on a ridge. It feels older, heavier.
And it is older, right?
It is older. Volterra is Etruscan.
Etruscan, that's pre-Roman.
Correct. This was the civilization that was here before the Romans took over everything. So Volterra has these massive Etruscan gates and walls. It's also famous for alabaster. The geology of the area produces this beautiful translucent stone. If Robert and Sharon are looking for a souvenir that's truly local, they should look for alabaster carvings in Volterra.
Good tip. Okay, then we have Siena on March 9th. Now, Siena seems to be the town that people really, really fall in love with.
Siena is special. It's a Gothic masterpiece. While Florence was turning to the Renaissance, Siena just stayed medieval. They have a private walking tour scheduled from 10 in the morning to 1 p.m.
And the outline here mentions the tour focuses on traditions, streets, and the cathedral.
The cathedral, the Duomo di Siena, is, well, it's mind-blowing. The outside is this white and greenish black marble, so it's stripped like a zebra. It's very dramatic.
And the inside.
The inside. I mean, some art historians will argue it's more impressive than St. Peter's in Rome or even the Duomo in Florence.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah. The floor alone is a masterpiece. It's covered in these intricate marble mosaic panels that tell biblical stories. It's just layer after layer after layer of incredible art.
And the traditions part of the tour, I'm guessing that has to be about the Palio horse race.
Absolutely. You cannot understand Siena without understanding the contrada. The city is divided into 17 districts, or contrade. You know, the goose, the tower, the caterpillar, the she-wolf.
It sounds like the houses in Harry Potter.
It is exactly like that, but with centuries of real blood feuds and rivalries. You're born into a contrada, you're baptized in your contrada's fountain, you marry within it, and your funeral is held there.
Wow.
And the Palio horse race is just the big public expression of this deep tribal loyalty. The guide will take them through the streets and point out the different flags and the symbols on the walls. It's fascinating social history.
So those are the day trips. They drive out, see the sights, and drive back to their villa in Selvatel to sleep. But Robert and Sharon have added a twist to their itinerary that I think is just brilliant.
Yes. The vacation within a vacation.
Exactly what I was thinking. I'm calling it the deep dive spoke. They are keeping their villa at Borgo Alivigne. They don't check out.
All their big, heavy suitcases stay right there in the closet.
Right. But they pack a small overnight bag, maybe just a backpack.
Yeah.
And they head out for a few days to stay somewhere else.
This is such a luxury move. It solves the biggest pain point of travel, which is constantly packing and unpacking and lugging your baggage around. It allows them to be agile.
And their first mini-trip is a big one, Cinque Terre.
The Five Lands, March 4th to March 6th.
This is where the expedition part of the title really earns its keep. Cinque Terre is 5 fishing villages that are just clinging to the cliffs of the Ligurian coast. It is rugged.
Very rugged. And they're not just looking at it from a boat tour, they are hiking it.
Okay, walk us through this. On March 4th, they drive from the villa to a city called La Spezia.
Right. La Spezia is the main port city just south of the 5 villages. They're going to park the car there and leave it.
Because you can't drive in Cinque Terre itself.
No, absolutely not. It's all pedestrian only, and it's mostly stairs. So from La Spezia, they take the train into the national park. They're going to be hiking the famous Blue Trail, the Sentiero Azzurro.
So what's the first leg of the hike?
They're starting at the northernmost village, which is Monterosso al Mar, and they're hiking south to Vernazza. And this is a real hike. It's narrow paths, dirt trails, stairs that are carved right into the rock. You've got vineyards on one side and then a sheer drop to the Mediterranean Sea on the other. The views are just unparalleled.
And they are staying overnight in Vernazza. The place is called Vernazza Sea View on Via Guidoni.
And Vernazza is often considered the jewel of the 5 villages. It has this perfect little natural harbor, a beautiful church tower, and a piazza right on the water. Staying overnight there is so key.
Why is that?
Because during the day, it can get really crowded with day trippers, but after, say, 5 p.m., everybody leaves, the sun starts to set, and the village just becomes quiet and magical. They can have dinner in the piazza with the sound of the waves.
Sounds perfect. Then March 5th, they put the hiking boots back on?
Yep. They hike from Vernazza to Corniglia. Now, Corniglia is the tricky one. It's the only village that's not right on the water. It's perched way up high on a cliff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, if you come by train, you have to climb this thing called the Larderina. It's almost 400 brick steps. But since they're hiking, they'll just traverse right into it.
And then they continue on to Manarola.
Manarola is the one you see on every single postcard. You know the one, the colorful houses just spilling down the ravine into the dark blue water?
I know exactly the one. They're staying at the Manarola Sea View there.
Which is perfect for sunset. Manarola has a famous viewpoint across the harbor where everyone gathers to watch the golden hour light up all the houses. It's stunning.
And finally, on March 6th, they do the last leg of the hike to Rio Maggiore.
Right. The Via dell'Amore is the famous paved path there, though it's often under repair, so they might have to take the high trail. But once they get to Rio Maggiore, they can hop on the train, zip right back to La Spezia, grab the car, and drive back to their home base in Tuscany.
That is a solid 3 days of intense activity. But they aren't done with the mini-trips. Just a few days later, from March 11th to 13th, they do it again.
And this time, they're going to an island.
Elba Island, Isola d'Elba.
Now, historically, we all know this place because of one very short, very angry man.
Napoleon Bonaparte. He was exiled here in 1814.
He was. But here's the funny thing. He wasn't a prisoner in a cell. He was made the Emperor of Elba. He actually ruled the island.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he built roads, he organized the mines, he revamped the whole legal system. He was very, very busy for the 300 days he was there.
So to get to Elba, Robert and Sharon drive to Piombino on the coast, and they take a ferry.
It's about an hour crossing to Porto Ferraio, which is the main town. And it's a very dramatic arrival. You see these massive Medici fortifications just towering over the harbor as you pull in.
They're staying for 2 nights at a place called Loft nel Fontestella.
Which sounds amazing. A duplex with sea views right inside the historic fortified zone.
This part of the trip is listed as self-guided.
Which is perfect for an island like Elba. It has a very different vibe from Tuscany. It's much more laid back. It's all about the sea. They can visit the Villa dei Mulini, which was Napoleon's winter residence. It's actually quite modest for an emperor. The travel guides mention a Napoleonic passport, which is a fun little way to tick off the historical sites.
But mostly it's about just exploring the beaches, the cliffs, and the small fishing villages like Porto Azzurro.
And the seafood. They should definitely eat seafood here. I mean, it is as fresh as it possibly gets.
Okay. Then, on March 13th, they ferry back, pick up the car, and return to Borgo Alevine for their final nights in the countryside.
So that wraps up the whole hub and spoke phase. They've done the hills, they've done the coast, they've done an island, and now the trip completely shifts gears.
The expedition moves to the cities, March 15th. They check out of the villa for good. They pack up the car one last time, and they drive to Florence.
And here is a critical detail. They drive to Florence, and then they get rid of the car.
Yes, they drop it off at the Europcar downtown location.
This is so vital. Friends, family, anyone listening, you do not want a car in Florence. It's a medieval city The streets are narrow, a lot of them are pedestrian only, and there are cameras everywhere that will ticket you for driving in restricted zones, the ZTL.
So dropping the car is the smartest move they could make.
The absolute smartest. From here on out, they're on foot.
Or taxi, but mostly on foot. Florence is a walking city.
Definitely.
So they're checking into the Hotel Berchelli.
And the location of this hotel is just unbeatable. It's at Lungarno degli Acquoli 14. That means it is right on the banks of the Arno River.
And the voucher says Deluxe River View.
So they are going to be looking out their window at the water, and they are literally steps away from the Ponte Vecchio, the famous bridge with all the jewelry shops on it.
It's a historic hotel, 4-star, renovated.
Yeah.
And it has a roof garden.
Which is such a great escape. Florence can be intense. It can be really crowded. Having a rooftop to retreat to with a glass of wine at the end of the day is a lifesaver.
Speaking of intense, let's look at their Florence itinerary. March 16th, day 1. They're starting with a pretty serious physical challenge.
8:15 in the morning, the climb. Brunelleschi's dome.
This is the dome of the cathedral, the Duomo. The ticket itself warns. 463 steps, no elevator.
And it also adds, strongly not recommended for those with claustrophobia or vertigo.
Why is it claustrophobic?
Because you aren't walking up a normal wide staircase. You are walking between the two shells of the dome. Filippo Brunelleschi, the architect, invented this incredible double shell design to keep the dome from collapsing on itself. So as you climb, the walls are literally curving in on you. It gets tight, it gets steep.
But the payoff at the top must be incredible.
You pop out at the lantern, the very top of the dome. You are the highest point in the entire city. You can see all the terracotta rooftops, the hills in the distance. It's the best view in Florence. It is worth every single step.
They have the Brunelleschi Pass, which also lets them visit the bell tower and the baptistry.
Right. Though the notes do say the baptistry mosaics are under restoration right now. But just seeing the gates of paradise, the big gold doors on the outside, is a highlight in itself.
After climbing 463 steps, they definitely deserve a treat. That evening at 6:30 p.m., they have a gelato and pizza making class.
This is the perfect recovery strategy. Load up on carbs and sugar.
It's a hands-on class. They're making pizza from scratch with professional chefs. And there's a gelato demo.
And the voucher specifically says, dinner with unlimited wine.
I'm sensing a theme here. Unlimited wine might be the unofficial theme of the Taylor expedition.
As it absolutely should be. But this is great because it's interactive. You know, learning to make the dough, understanding the difference between real gelato and that fake fluffy stuff. It really connects you to the culture.
Okay, day 2 in Florence, March 17th. This looks like the heavy culture day.
Yeah, put on your most comfortable shoes for this one. It starts with a private walking tour of the city highlights at 9:45 a.m. The meeting point is on Via dei Lamberti.
So that gives them the layout of the city. Then at 11:30 a.m., they have a private tour of the Accademia Gallery.
And there is really only one reason the Accademia is world famous.
David.
Michelangelo's David. And I cannot stress this enough. The David is one of the few super famous things in the world that is not overrated. It actually exceeds the hype.
Really? Why is that?
Well, first, the scale of it. It's 17 feet tall. It is massive. But then it's the detail. The veins in his hand are bulging. The look in his eyes. He's staring down Goliath. He looks tense. He looks ready. Most statues before this showed David after the fight, you know, standing on the head.
Right.
Michelangelo showed him in the moment before. And having a private guide is so essential here to point out all those anatomical details that make cold stone look like living flesh.
Then they grab some lunch, and at 3:00 p.m., they head to the big one, the Uffizi Gallery.
The Uffizi is basically the Louvre of Italy. It's the private art collection of the Medici family. It houses all the greatest hits of the Renaissance.
And they have a tour with an art expert. It's billed as a masterclass.
Which is smart because the Uffizi is overwhelming. You can get serious museum fatigue in about 20 minutes. A masterclass focuses your attention. They'll see Botticelli's The Birth of Venus, Da Vinci's Annunciation, works by Giotto, Michelangelo, Raphael.
The source also mentions they will learn the secrets of the Vasari corridor.
Ah, yes. The secret passage. This is so cool. The Medici family lived in the Pitti Palace across the river, but they worked in the Uffizi in Palazzo Vecchio, and they didn't want to walk through the muddy, smelly streets with all the commoners. So they hired their architect, Vasari, to build an aerial corridor that runs from their office over the Ponte Vecchio, literally on top of the shops, through a church, and right into their palace. It's 1 kilometer long. The tour will explain the history, and they can see where it runs from the outside.
That is an absolutely full day. Okay, March 18th, day 3, they are back in the kitchen.
Wannabe Italiano cooking class. This one starts at 9 in the morning.
And this one includes a market tour.
Yes. They visit the Mercato Central, the Central Market. This place is a sensory explosion. You've got butchers, fishmongers, stands piled high with vegetables. The chefs will help them pick out all the ingredients. Then they go to the kitchen to cook a full meal, usually some kind of pasta. And then they eat it for lunch.
With these?
Unlimited wine. Naturally.
Of course. March 19th is a free day in Florence.
A very wise addition to the schedule. Florence is dense. They might want to shop for leather. The city is famous for its leather goods. They might want to walk up to Piazza della Michelangelo for the classic sunset view over the city.
We're just sitting at Piazza and people wet?
Exactly. Just sit in Piazza della Signoria and watch the world go by.
Then, the final transition. March 20th. They leave Florence.
They're taking the train to Rome.
The high-speed train.
The Frecciarossa. It's fantastic. It goes almost 200 miles an hour. It takes about 90 minutes to get from Florence to Rome. It is so much better than driving or flying.
And so begins the final leg of the expedition. Rome, the Eternal City, March 20th to March 25th.
They're checking into the Marcella Royal Hotel.
Located on Via Flavia.
This is a bit of an insider's location. It's near the famous Via Veneto, the La Dolce Vita Street, and the Spanish Steps. It's an upscale area, it's safe, and it's a little quieter than the really chaotic historic center.
The room is a junior suite standard. But the real selling point here, according to the sources, is the Terrazza Flavia.
The rooftop garden. This is the crown jewel of the hotel. It offers a 360-degree panoramic view of Rome. You can see St. Peter's Dome, the hills, the city lights at night. And breakfast is served up there.
Wow.
Imagine starting your day with a cappuccino and a cornetto, looking out over the entire city of Rome.
It sets the stage perfectly. So, March 21st, day 1 in Rome, they're going big.
They're going to the Vatican. 8:45 a.m. private complete Vatican tour.
And this covers the Vatican Museums, the Sistine Chapel, and St. Peter's Basilica.
This is a marathon of art. The Vatican museums are miles long. I mean, literally miles of corridors. Having a private guide is the only way to survive it with your sanity intact. They'll steer you through the Gallery of Maps, which is spectacular, and the Raphael rooms straight to the main event.
The Sistine Chapel.
Michelangelo's ceiling. It's the story of creation. And then the wall behind the altar, the Last Judgment. It is just overwhelming in its complexity. The guide will help them decode the stories that are painted there. You know, the politics, the theology, the personal vendettas that Michelangelo hid in the painting.
And then into St. Peter's Basilica.
The largest church in the world. The scale is just impossible to describe until you're standing in it. The Baldachin by Bernini, that huge bronze canopy over the main altar, is 7 stories tall. It just makes you feel tiny.
March 22nd is a free day.
Which is good for recovery. Maybe they walk to the Spanish Steps, throw a coin in the Trevi Fountain. Like, you know, it's cheesy, but you have to do it to ensure you'll return to Rome.
Or just wander.
Right.
The March 23rd, the other great pillar of Roman history.
Ancient Rome, 9:15 a.m. A private premium Colosseum tour.
This is with VIP access.
Essential. The lines at the Colosseum are legendary, so this tour skips all of them. They visit the Colosseum itself, the Roman Forum, and Palatine Hill.
The source material mentions walking the paths of gladiators and emperors.
And that's exactly what it is. The Colosseum is the stadium, the machine of death, but the Forum is the brain. It was the political center of the entire empire. You are walking on stones that Julius Caesar walked on. You can see the Senate House. And then Palatine Hill is where the emperors lived. The word palace actually comes from Palatine. It connects all the dots of history.
March 24th is their last full day in Italy. Another free day.
And the sources have a fantastic suggestion here. The Jewish ghetto.
Why the ghetto?
The food. Specifically, a dish called carciofi alla Judea.
Fried artichokes.
They are deep fried whole. They come out looking like these golden, crispy sunflowers. They're like potato chips on the outside and all tender and soft on the inside. It is the specific flavor of Rome. Robert and Sharon, if you are listening, you have to find these.
And they should check out the Trastevere neighborhood, too.
Oh, absolutely. It's across the river. It's very charming. Ivy-covered buildings, great nightlife, cobblestone streets. It's the perfect place for a final celebratory dinner.
And then we come to the end, March 25th.
Departure day.
A private transfer takes them to FCO Airport. They fly Delta Flight 67 back to Atlanta and then on to Panama City.
And here is the final mercy of this beautiful itinerary. The flight leaves Rome at 11:40 in the morning. It's a daylight flight.
Meaning they don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. to get to the airport.
Exactly. And they land back in Florida that same evening. No red eye. They will be exhausted, of course, but they will be sleeping in their own bed that night.
It truly is a trip of a lifetime.
It is a masterpiece of planning. It really is.
Let's just recap this for the family one last time.
Okay. They start with the recovery-focused luxury of Delta One. They live like locals in a Tuscan villa for 2 weeks, using it as a hub to explore Pisa, Lucca, Siena, and Volterra.
They undertake a rugged expedition, hiking the Cinque Terre and exploring Napoleon's island of Elba.
Then they transition to city life, climbing domes and studying Michelangelo in Florence.
And they finish with the sheer grandeur of the Vatican and the Colosseum in Rome.
It